Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Anderson filling in for Morgan Fogarty tonight. A mistrial has been declared in the voluntary manslaughter trial of CMPD officer Wes Kerrick. The jury remained deadlocked at 8-4 after 4 days of deliberations. Kerrick is accused of killing an unarmed Jonathan Farrell in September of 2013. CMPD says Farrell ran toward the officers when they arrived. One of the officers deployed his taser. It did not stop Farrell. Kerrick fired his weapon 12 times. 10 of those shots hit Farrell, killing him. It has been an emotional trial for both families involved, and tonight neither side is enjoying peace of mind or closure. The Kerrick family has said they will not release a statement until the Attorney General has made a decision in the case.
So as my brother is dead in the grave right now, I am defending him. I am walking for him. I am fighting for him day in and day out, trying to get justice for my brother.
Our question of the night: should the Attorney General retry this case? Let's take it to our Edgitators. You know QCB from WFNZ Sports Radio, defense attorney and former Union County District Attorney John Snyder, and WCCB News at 10 anchor Will Kennedy. Guys, thanks for being here. QCB, you're up first.
Well, of course, I think that should happen. Clearly, justice did not prevail tonight, and I'm so glad my man John Snyder is here to help me understand more about why the verdict was the outcome it was. And I clearly want the city of Charlotte to, it's okay to protest, but do it intelligently. Okay, Charlotte's a beautiful city. Do not take what they did in LA, obviously, or in Baltimore. We're not going that route, because I think we're better class than that, and I just continue to keep Charlotte like it is, and just protest intelligently and try to keep the violence down.
Okay, John, to you.
Well, I think that the number one thing to focus on is what's the family expecting, and whether the state thinks that at the end of this that they can get a conviction. And with an 8-4 vote, it's going to be very hard for them to do that. And so Roy Cooper is going to have to make a really tough decision. Do I upset a family and maybe lose an election, or do I do what's right by everybody that's involved and not seek a retrial?
Well, Kennedy?
It really is weighing these two things. You know, the Wes Kerrick situation, what is right for him as an individual and his rights, but also, you know, seeking justice in this case. And as John just said, that comes down to the Attorney General, that comes down to Roy Cooper making this decision. And there's so many factors at play here. The city, again, all that it's been through, you know, all the preparation that a trial maintains. And again, could you even get a jury here in Charlotte that didn't know about the trial at this point, after all, everybody's covered it for the last several weeks? So,
well, Morgan Fogarty is texting in, and she's mentioning, you know, Roy Cooper, Attorney General, has a political future ahead of him. Run for governor, and this could be a big issue.
I think he bet on this case being the case that would carry him into a general election victory, and I think he's wrong. I think he misunderstood the strength of the evidence, and he overstated the case, and now he's got to figure out, do I make law enforcement mad, or do I make the Farrell family mad?
You mentioned the evidence. The attorney for the Farrell family, Christopher Chestnut, spoke today. We heard a little bit of it just now at the beginning of our broadcast, and he said the jury didn't see all the evidence in this case, and so he thinks the AG should retry the case so they can see all the evidence. What evidence did they not see, and why didn't they see it?
I don't know of anything. What looked like to me is that every time that the state wanted something into evidence, they got it into evidence. Anytime the defense wanted something out of evidence, they lost. And so I disagree. Obviously, there's an emotional factor. I've had to tell families, we can't prosecute your case. And there's never an easy way to say it, and it's hard, and you know, you bear the stripes of that. But when you stand up to take that job, you have to do that. And so Roy Cooper's has to be honest with this family.
I think we have to keep in mind, too, that is the family attorney, Mr. Chestnut. He is not involved in the prosecution of this case. So he can make statements that both sides are not going to make, the defense and the state in this case. And so you got to take that into account a little bit. But we saw so much evidence in this case. It was a ringer for everybody involved. And so from that standpoint, you look at it and say, can we go through this again? And you know, how would that play out? But we won't know for a little while, and that's an issue tonight, because we've seen that protesters are on the streets, and we talked about that earlier today. You know, in Q, you can chime in too. That, I mean, what is justice in this case? And we have different perceptions and different realities when it comes to that.
Yeah, and my thing is the dash cam. The dash cam. Did the dash cam help or hurt Kerrick?
Well, I think it left a huge piece of evidence, which is him firing his weapon unknown, and so everybody that sees that has to figure out what happened off camera. And so we hear him yell, we hear the shots being fired. And so we have to decide after watching that what actually happened.
Now, do you think this was the sticking piece of evidence that led to the mistrial, or do you think it was a question of police training?
I think it's this video. You know, the state made such a huge deal. The Farrell family attorney made a huge deal. Our mayor made a huge deal about once you see this tape, you're going to be convinced that he's guilty. And then, yeah, I've talked to everybody on this panel. Everybody's like, I don't know. That's reasonable doubt.
It was not, clearly, it was not what a lot of people expected, because we had heard the similar things that John was saying, that it was going to be this bombshell that damaged Wes Kerrick, and it clearly was not. And you could say, you know, that it helped him or hurt him, you know, which way, but I think it raised more doubt than it answered questions. But what I like about this is, as someone who taught civics, it has been neat, and I think a lot of people need to see inside the legal system and get a feel for what, you know, what goes on and the hard work that's put in, and, you know, what it means to be sitting there in that courtroom with your life on the line, and what would you want, you know?
And the pressure on the jury and the foreman as well.
And what does this mean for Kerrick? Like, how does his life go from here?
I don't think it goes anywhere. It's a waiting game.
Does he stay in Charlotte? Does he leave and try to do this something?
No, he's still a defendant with an open case. So he
What's the time limit on that when it comes to open case with the decision to mistrial?
There is none, and again, that's where the Attorney General needs to be a leader or get out of the way, because he can't. You're just having a man's life
in limbo
swing, and that's not right. And it doesn't matter if he's a police officer or just a guy off the street. You can't do that to a person.
You really can feel for both sides in this case, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we're not done yet.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
That's the thing here.
We're hoping to hear news from the Attorney General maybe as soon as Monday. In the meantime, our Courtney Francisco is uptown tonight monitoring the protest, and we'll continue to keep you updated if there are any changes there.